Hi, my name's Sehar. I work in the HR team supporting people and organisation development. I'm also a member of the Race, Ethnicity and Cultural Heritage Committee. Today I'll be talking to you about the Reverse Mentoring pilot programme that I co-led on with Cameron Houston. In terms of background, our pilot programme was driven in 2020 following the global Black Lives Matter protests and George Floyd's murder. At OC, we hosted a number of lounge calls, an engagement week, and took pulse surveys focusing on the thoughts of our Black and ethnic minority colleagues. The reverse mentoring scheme was made to play a part in the remedy and to build an inclusive environment. There were two main aims. One, personal growth and development. This scheme was first and foremost for our mentors and our mentees to allow them to grow, learn and speak freely. It was a chance for them to see the world from another perspective and to have theirs shared. Two, being a catalyst for organisation change. The quickest way for this to happen was through our leadership. Our leaders expressed the need for change, and the scheme was aimed to allow decision makers to hear and consider racial and cultural differences and issues. The Reverse Mentoring programme capitalises on the power of storytelling. We had 24 pairs over the course of a year. Now we'll hear from a participant of this programme. Hi, I'm joined by Charlie and Bola. Charlie, I'll go to you first. I've got a question. Reflection is a key part of mentoring, and how did you process what you've learnt from your relationship?
Well, I got into the habit, I bike to and from work most days, and I got into the habit of thinking about everything I'd learnt during the reverse mentoring programme on my bike commute in and out, which was really valuable headspace for me. So it sounds really trite, but one of the things I really picked up and was such an eye-opener for me on the programme was the fact that you can come into work and do exactly the same job as the person sitting next to you, but have a very different take on certain issues and actions at work and also in the wider world, just because you've had a different upbringing, because you come from a different place. And I really tried to think about that each day in and out of work, and continue to actually to this day. It's been fantastic, it's great discipline. So for example, to think about anything from a topical issue in the news, Ukraine, whatever it may be, through to something that's planned at work that day, and try and think about it now, not just through my own, probably pretty narrow lens, but also the broader lens that I've had a bit of exposure to as a result of the reverse mentoring programme. So that's my sort of key takeaway in action, and which is very much ongoing.
Amazing, sounds like a very worthwhile experience. Bola, have you got any reflection on what Charlie has just said as a mentee of the programme?
Yeah, no, I think Charlie's a really good example of the kind of assumptions that we make. You know, we always assume that our leaders know everything. Sorry to bust your bubble, Charlie, but we do. We always assume that our leaders know everything about everything, especially in a firm where people are really inclusive. They really want us to be a firm that is diverse. But actually, I think what our reverse mentoring programme tells us, and Charlie really demonstrates really well, is that education is really key. How can you be inclusive and challenge those non-inclusive behaviours and thinking and thought processes if you actually don't know what it looks like, if you're not able to stand in someone else's shoes and see something from a different perspective. So I absolutely think that the reverse mentoring programme is a way to help leaders expose themselves to difference, to expose themselves to different ways of thinking, and then to be able to kind of internalise that and think about how that affects the way that they interact within the workplace.
Yeah. Okay, and Charlie, following on from what Bola's just said, what would you say to someone who's interested but not quite sure if they want to take part in this programme?
Absolutely go for it. It was an amazing experience for me. I really, really can't plug it and said it enough. You should absolutely do this. Right. Even if you're not really thinking about doing it, do it.
Do it. Especially if you're not thinking about doing it.
Do it. Even if you think you are well plugged into and compassionate about an understanding of differences, if you do this programme, you'll realise that you've got more to learn. Absolutely, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. And it's not just about you, the mentee, either. I think on this programme, the reverse mentors, they really put themselves out there. They probably relive and talk about a bunch of things that on occasion they'd rather not. And if people are brave enough and kind enough to offer that, then you, the population thinking about doing this, should absolutely take them up on that offer, I think.
Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
And that just perfectly segues into my next question, Bola. What is the firm doing with these learnings? So our mentees are going through the programme, they're experiencing or listening to the experiences of our black and ethnic minority colleagues, and they are coming up with changes. What has the firm done to implement the changes?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing is, you know, as a firm, we've been trying to support the mentees to process some of that information. So, you know, Charlie and the other mentees will have gone through some sessions at the end of the programme to help them think about what they can do. And what's been really interesting is the separation between what they can do as individuals versus what they can do as organisational leaders, and really trying to get them to think about how they incorporate both of those in their plans. Charlie mentioned the mentors. One of the things that we're asking our mentees to do is to mentor others coming in. So we have our first cohort of interns coming in on the 10,000 Black Interns programme. And so we're encouraging our reverse mentees to become mentors to those people coming in. The education piece, I think, has probably been our biggest learning, and really trying to think about how we broaden the reverse mentoring programme so that we, and we've just kicked off cohort number 2, but what we've done is we've opened it up to all of our 6 strands of diversity. So whether you're interested in learning more about people who identify as, you know, LGBT plus, or as someone with a disability, women, for example, but really trying to help our leadership understand that there are so many different lenses through which you can see the world. So that's really exciting. And then for the wider population, we're about to launch something called our Inclusion Allies programme. And this goes back to that thing that I said, which is we make assumptions about what people know. Everyone wants to be inclusive. No one thinks of themselves as, I'm going to wake up today and be that non-inclusive person, you know, in the office. But do they know what it means to be a really active ally? Do they understand how to spot those moments where they need to step up and be that ally? So the Inclusion Allies programme I'm really excited about. And then the last thing, of the many things that we're doing, and all of this will sit under our race action plan, but the last thing we're doing is we're really looking at how we decentralise knowledge and information to our leaders. So we have invested as a firm in a number of data tools. Over the next year, what we'll be doing is trying to give leaders like Charlie that really on-the-ground information about what's happening and the outcomes that we're seeing within their own team, so that they can take action locally and hopefully make a difference in the long term.
Amazing. Yeah, really exciting. Lots going on. Thank you, Charlie and Bola. It's been very valuable having you here. Again, thank you to Charlie and Bola. Their input from a mentee's experience and also a strategic lens is always valued. As you can see from the discussion, the pilot programme was a clear success. It's been highly recommended, and 100% of our mentees recommend it to others. There are 3 key takeaways. 1, that reverse mentoring in this context is personally rewarding and educational. 2, mentees feel better able to address issues within their teams that their ethnic minority colleagues face. 3, more than 50% of our senior level mentees are now in a sponsoring relationship, supporting the next generation of our ethnic minority leaders. And as Bola mentioned, a new scheme has recently been put into place. It runs on a regular basis and for all D&I networks. And this is on the back of the success of our pilot. Thank you for watching, and please do get involved.